Hi Cancer, here's a general look at your solar chart for March 2012. Now, every year at this time the Sun comes round to the same part of your solar chart, and it's actually quite an expansive area, so this should be a month when you should be reaching out or feeling that you are connecting with unusual ways of seeing things, doing things, and really you should be learning a lot, but also you could be teaching as well, you could be guiding as well. You've entered a phase when it could be more expansive in various ways, and you should be having more than one opportunity to maybe escape the box or the daily grind and see the bigger picture, and also having more chances to inhabit a broader perspective. It's quite an upbeat energy anyway, and you could be feeling the potential, you could be feeling the promise in the air, you may be full of ideas and plans or drawn to launch into a new enterprise or an interest, or in fact expand upon an enterprise or an interest, which will, as I say, teach you things you didn't know before. And it could, for some of you, be a good time to travel, or if not travel, take a break, or just plan to take a break or have a holiday. But also, because this is about plunging yourself into a different sort of environment from which you can learn. Maybe it's not geographically a long way away, it's just that you are getting into a new area, which is opening doors, as it were. And so definitely a time to, it's more likely that you'll be able to zoom out and get the bigger picture and just refresh, just refresh your mind and spirit. Until the 5th, those in positions of influence or power or authority figures or bureaucracy will tend to see you in a good light. And you could find an ally in a position of influence or power, somebody who's invaluable to your success, who may facilitate you in some way. Could be a female, because it's Venus. Someone could be playing a very putting their influence, in the right direction for you, so that you can do the right things or create the right impression, or you just are received in a very favourable kind of way. And some of you could be having tending to positive experiences with bosses or parents at this time, but around the 3rd or the 4th you may feel as though you've hit a bit of a wall. However, lateral thinking could bring you the success that you're seeking. Now, from the 5th, that's a good time for connecting, really mixing and mingling and blending in, so making friends or new associations, or revisiting established friendships, teaming up with a group of kindred spirits maybe, or just mixing with those who've got aims in common, interests in common, and that can be over the wires as well, of course. Venus is in a very sociable mood in this area, but that means you could get more support from your women friends, but also just friends, and this makes it an area of flow which could in fact be quite lucrative for you. So friendships or group connections can be friendly and interesting, and you should listen to the feedback from those as well, because this is very much a learning time for you, Cancer, but also could be lucrative for you, either directly or kind of indirectly, or at least provide you with access to useful material resources. And the 13th to the 15th looks particularly promising. So if you are scheduling something where you're hoping for a good result, then around about then would be a good choice, I think. Now, discussions, correspondence, inquiries, plans, ideas may be centered around your general direction, an enterprise, targets, goals, but also how to do things in the best way, image-wise, presentation-wise. You may be feeling that some ideas are being squished or in fact confirmed by feedback, by the evidence, or by somebody in a position of influence. And you'll care a little bit more about the effect that you're having on others with how you are communicating, how you're coming across with your self-expression. It could be your creative self-expression, so more mental effort going into communicating in a conscientious, competent manner, so as to get the result or to have the effect that you desire. But then Mercury, which this is about, is actually going retrograde from the 12th onwards, which, as you may know, can delay or suspend or cancel altogether previous plans and ideas. So you might have to be a little bit patient then, but the benefit, the gift of Mercury going backwards is that it just gets you to see things you didn't notice before, think things through, and just do it in a better way when eventually Mercury turns back and goes forward again. Mercury is going to retrograde into Pisces on the 24th, giving you the urge to learn through doing, and once again it's in a very expansive area for you there, so reaching out in, connecting with foreign cultures even, and having more of an interchange, having more of a talk, sort of discussion, a dialogue with those that are, just very different, or in fact are just giving you, throwing a different light on things for you. And so really good time to listen to feedback, but also as it's a communications sector and a communications planet, then getting your word out in a bigger kind of way could be the way it works for some of you. And it's also about travel, so it could mean that some of you are toing and froing more, in fact covering a larger distance. It's also about the law, litigation, matters of litigation, or having to get your head round the legal side of something or other. It's also about another kind of law, which is spiritual law and higher meanings and higher teachings. So not only will you be on a bit of a learning curve, but for some of you it could work that others are learning from you, and it will probably be easier though altogether with this energy for you not to sweat the small stuff so much, and you just get the eagle eye view, you get the sense of it all, you get the orientation and the perspective. And you could be gathering information, you could be disseminating information, and having more contact with teachers or teaching guides or guiding advisors or advising. It's also a good time for you to just take a break and get out of the box, the mental box that you're usually in, and there's many different ways that you could be doing that, so that's for you to know. Now, for several months, the Mars transit is activating the communications sector of your chart, and also social, meaning it really does stir up the area to do with socializing, whether that's for business reasons or whether that's just in your personal life. It can all be pretty demanding. It could be pretty draining, actually. You'll be mixing and mingling and flying hither and thither more than usual, and also developing your communication skills, your self-expression. But just watch it that you don't be too over the top in the way you come across Cancer, because Mars is a very feisty energy, and others could get you wrong because you just are a little bit too assertive, or you just react too quickly, and you can take a pot shot, almost like thinking with your mouth. It's like the mouth engages in fact before the brain, because Mars is a very fast energy and it's quite aggressive energy, it can be. So just be aware of that. You might want to soften your tone. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, really. But until mid-April, Mars is actually going retrograde, which means indecision or distraction or uncertainty, or you're not absolutely clear about which way to go or how to do it, whatever it is. Clarity or a definite direction just seems to elude you, and your patience could be wearing thin, and you get irritated. You're kind of in it all the time, but you're never actually getting out the other side, as it were. But it's okay, because this is not a time for huge victories or great leaps forward. This is just when you are got to be in it, so just be satisfied with small victories rather than a huge winning a huge war. And then Mars goes direct in April, at which time you should feel more confident about pursuing, really narrowing it down to what you've actually got to be doing, what you've got to be pursuing, you see. And so having it set in your mind a bit better. But this Mars transit is a great time for really developing your ways of expressing yourself through some medium of self-expression, connecting and getting to know others, and also having more interaction with siblings maybe, or soul brothers and sisters, being very much in the flow of information exchange. And because it is such a long transit, and it is quite an assertive, almost aggressive energy, perhaps you could use that by setting things down through writing, or as I say, some other medium of self-expression, because you want to get things off your chest, you want to make a statement, you don't want to, beat about the bush. And like I say, some people could find you a little bit bossy, or maybe you don't let it out, maybe you keep it in, but then you start getting fuming and all steamed up. So you need some you need some outlet. It's really important with Mars here. It's been there since November, it's going to be there till July, for outlet in what you're feeling and thinking and knowing. You need an outlet. It's very important. From the 20th, you will be taking your worldly responsibilities more seriously. The new moon, conjunct Uranus and Mercury on the 22nd, could conjure the unexpected, the bizarre, or give you a magical sort of experience. Difficult to know how it will work, but it's not a bad thing. But this will be particularly affecting Cancerians in the career area. In fact, it could be quite a good thing. But it's almost like a sudden thing, and you just need to be relaxed and almost sort of we'll see how this goes, or being a little bit more flexible here, allowing the thing to get a bit strange before you realise how what it's about. It's almost like it's trying to tell you something, it's trying to teach you something, whatever this might be. And you also might be experiencing this just before the 22nd, or indeed just after it, because it can cover the whole month. Yes, so watch that space. That looks like an interesting space. And if you want to know what's going on with the slow moving outer planets, go to my website and read it there. Everything I've said here is about the fast moving inner planets, and everything I've said here will be very much toned because it's set against the background of the slower outer planets, you see. So to get the fuller picture, you could perhaps be reading that if you haven't seen it recently. And also you might like to listen to your rising sign, or maybe your moon sign. That's very important for you Cancerians, and see if that makes any sense to you. And I wish you well, and I'll see you the next time. Bye for now.